so hit the wrong button. Yeah, so now I'm going through the pillars, if you haven't noticed: entertainment, education, business, okay? So for business, all of the business is based upon, and this is a little help. I got help because Greg knew I was tired. And so the business was Matt, Matt and Greg over from the Urban Ore in the Bay. Greg knew I was tired. He's the one who had his son's face blown apart with a shotgun, over who knows, something stupid probably. And so he was like, business Shimano, there's an issue with proprietary. And so all the business models, so if you look at even the most recent business, cryptocurrency, blockchain based business and money processes and stuff, schemes is what I'd really call them. Your blockchain schemes, um, your rat shit spec schemes. Bro, your bitch ant turd shit. Business kings with your castles. Mine, mine. Um, so you kings, whoever you could be, I don't know. Maybe you could focus on non-proprietary based informational decision making in relation to structuring formation of practice of business before business practices are cemented. I know that's a lot to ask from the kings, but maybe start pontificating, thinking, considering about things, business, things, gold, money, tractors, equipment in relation to practices of business. Okay, so this is how businesses form. There's a practice of business, and there's people who are responsible for the practices of business. This is a Romanized mercantile state that the U.S. is based upon. That's why all the port cities are the biggest, New York City and San Francisco, because it has to do with mercantile business globally, historically, for 400 years or whatever, 200 years or whatever you fucking done. I don't know. It better not be 600 years. You ain't dropped my ass like that. I ain't dropped my ass like that. I 16,000 years. So you better not be fucking putting me in that situation, motherfucking bitches. I ain't getting down with having to lift a coffin of 16,000 years. I ain't getting down like that. So the practices, aka your laws, commercial code, civil law, contract, okay, your contract law, right? That's the basis of all your civil torts and all of your civil law, contracted, written documentation. So you could focus on, instead of proprietary ownership, to designing and structuring invisibly, mentally, for codification and then filtration from codification systems of a canon, non-Romanized canon, into the actual business operations. You could focus on trying to get your brains a little bit more focused on less than something that you own. It's your property, and you could focus on developing mental structures and ways of conducting business, which has to do with things that are not possessive, not controlled, not of proprietary nature. And the blockchain is interesting because it creates permanent records, but again, that's sort of a good starting place, kind of like true and false. But then the end result and ending place is its codified permanence of ownership, essentially. And so developing practices with technology that are designed to operate based upon nothing, no thing. So an example would be moral structured business operation, where morality is what sets parameters for business operation. Morale. Not letting all the people working restaurants be depressed and just sell shit food when they have an actual heritage, a gastronomical heritage. So then the end result of something like that, a moral-based business structure, could be about heritage as business operation. And instead of having a blockchain for crypto ownership, there could be a blockchain of heritage values or something of that nature. And making business about heritage. We don't all have the ability to grow bananas. We don't all have the ability to grow sugarcane, cotton, citrus. We don't all have the ability to grow saffron, poppy seeds. So, Kura flowers. We don't. So then there's geographical relations which led into the mercantile shipping of salt and spices and all these different things historically. And so there's a deep structural ingraining of heritage as the basis, as well as needs. People need salt. We need salt. We'd probably die without salt. Did you look at the ocean? Did you taste it? So there can be heritage values within business. And this sort of bleeds into like the political aspect of business. Taxation. You might want to stop taxing if you haven't noticed. Like it keeps leading to like revolutions and shit all over the world. People ain't like really so into like some other person, even if they earned it. They ain't really into like giving shit away like that. So maybe shift the focus, do something useful with your fucking castles so you don't have to fucking do weird shit. And your kids don't have to hide, and you don't have to sign NDAs for your weddings like fucking weirdos. And so there can be heritage-based practice of business. So people respect farmers. We need food. And so instead of about proprietary Monsanto business-based practice, which is they own something, and then so it wrecks a whole bunch of other shit, which has rich, purposeful, rooted heritage of thousands and thousands of years of practice, and then you just fucking got a little miniature golden key that shit fuck P mini, and kills a whole bunch of people through weird genetic modification shit because you're retarded, thinking about me only. And that's the foundational origin point for fueling all contract law, is me, mine, proprietary. I think it's still recording. So I think it's still recording. I'm not sure. But so for the business practice um, and law, it can be based upon more realistically, like taxation free geographical heritage values. If there's a heritage of chilies in Mexico, um, yeah, maybe its neighbors should have no taxes and no fees because that's what makes the chilies from all through the arid climate and growing in regions of Mexico have their value, is that they're chilies and they don't grow how they grow anywhere else. And all these people and farmers know all these different things and have all these different seeds, and the value is the chili and the heritage of that chili in every which way until it arrives and is cooked and is on the plate, stuffed with rice and meat and some spices. And that sounds fucking lovely right now. I wish I would have gotten that for $12. A chili filled with rice and some ground chicken. So, like, why is there no restaurant with just fucking chilies and stuffed with rice and beef and cumin and chili, vinegar and salt and pepper? Why are there no restaurants that just have like real amazing food? Like there was this cafe on Franklin Street, a Middle Eastern in North Carolina, Chapel Hill, next to David Branch Sutton's wine um, and haircut salon. And this Middle Eastern cafe just it had just fridges filled with like huge things of hummus, huge things of stuffed grape leaves, and just it was like a fucking heaven. There's certain things I have been able to have the pleasure of experiencing in this short lifetime, and it's hard to go back. This cubeta cheese from this tiny little Mexican grocery store, $3. It fills me up as a whole meal. Doesn't give me diarrhea, doesn't make me gassy, doesn't make me feel sick. It's just a staple, bro. And the only people making it is the Mexicans. It's just there's a heritage value that has nothing to do necessarily with any particular person or group or individual. It has to do with histories of geography. And so designing business practices with respect to the God-given geography and heritages, everything's so mixed anyways. There's a whole bunch of fucking white Mexicans now. They have a word for us, güero. Like there's a whole bunch of fucking, everything's so fucking mixed. And so now it's not necessarily even about like the language or that type of thing, and everything's sort of like deadpan, like lost and emptied now, and no one has any heritage. But that's not true, because there's always going to be longer fixed constants like gravity in the hierarchical information system that I was talking about. The constants, they're constant and relatively fixed, but God can change them whenever. But for right now, there are fixed constants. And one of those constants is there's desert, arid climates and regions in parts of Mexico. And then there's wet coastal regions that are cold in Northern California that have Artemisia plant growing. And so there's a heritage and a culture, not just to the the people, but to what could never claim ownership, the land, the geographical space. So where are the commercial mercantile laws and structures for global and local business practices fundamentally informed at a principled morality of respect for the God-given, fact-based, irrevocable truth of geographical heritage? It's not about who owns it. That's not okay. It's not like, oh, I'm Mexican, so, and I was born on this giant Mexican farm, and so that produces 20% of the chilies for all of the Northwest. So I own all this, and so my contracts in business are about maintaining ownership of this property, and then everything else is subsidiary to proprietary ownership. And then so the costs and the fees and all of these things through whatever political capital, free market words or verbiage, or fucking socialistic frame, instead of having a capitalistic and socialistic framework of political business, and politics and business are like the same thing anyways, so we're just collapsing those two pillars, sort of, here. And they're very similar. They're inextricably linked. And so the framework could be, oh, the geographical value. No, King George, you don't own, and all your friends and all the cities that have been built here in this country, with you sending retarded police telling me not to talk to someone in a public street. No, King George, you don't own the entire continent. Thomas Fairfax, you don't own, and your lineage and your friends going through 400 years, you don't own, not a single fucking one of you owns a single fucking piece of land in Virginia from that contracted King George Thomas Fairfax 5 million acres on a treaty that was invalid and a lie from the beginning. You never owned it. Why do you think you had to fucking write the U.S. Constitution? Because you needed to lie more. So, business practices, which are based upon a principled morality for the gifts that the universe has irrevocably made constant for hundreds of years, such as salt lands, or chili lands, or currah flower lands, or Artemisia medicinal land, or eucalyptus, or orange peel, citrus, or copper, that the business is fundamentally structured around that, the heritage. And that heritage needs to be addressed because we have a whole bunch of farming practices now which are completely toxic and weird ass demon monster fucking vampire vibes sucking everything out of the fucking land. You can't just be a vampire and suck and take what's yours, and think that's not going to translate into rivers being dammed and the literal blood flow and water flow of an entire living organism being mutilated across entire fucking continents. So when rifts open up in Africa slowly and a whole bunch of water or minerals are exposed, that becomes a gift from God and becomes a geographical heritage value, and it's a responsibility not to conduct business transaction in relation to those gifts, but wisdom based practices of respect for the heritage of what we have: the land, the water, the air. We don't have the sun. We're not the sun. I'm not the sun. Okay? I'm not a star like that. So then all of the commercial and practical laws and then mercantilism in relation to that resource isn't based upon a proprietary ownership, which leads to corrupted and concentration mechanisms through uncontrolled free markets or corrupted unfree markets of socialism. And it doesn't lead to complete chaos and anarchy, but it sort of does, because the planet's going to rip open and give us all these new, like, gold, the gold rush. All these new things are going to keep popping up every once in a while. A volcano's going to do this, and then the birds over 200 years are going to do this stuff, and then there's going to be all this crazy shit from turtle poop that fossilized or something. So business could possibly be structured that way, on the heritage of the gifts God is rupturing open, such as a pomegranate falling from a tree and splitting into two, juices and seeds and red stains and dyes and sweetness, just the flowers, and just there can be things like that as the foundation for codified practices based upon proper mentation of rulership. And then when codified, it turns into an actual global practice process. Okay? Which is connected and intertwined with politics. Now, for politics, okay? Again, I haven't thought about any of this. I wasn't going to get into it. Maybe I touched into it enough. So we got business, entertainment, education, politics, and I always forget the fifth. And this the bitch, it's his fault. Religion.